Hey, now we're talking. All right, this is some pretty awesome news. We have the first challenge for the VGC 2016 rule set being announced for later this month. So it is the International Challenge January, and it will be using the VGC 2016 rules. As you can see right here, the banner, it has, legendary Pokemon, so we get to go and bring in the GS Cup rules to this, and it's going to be like the first VGC battle spot environment where you can test out your team and get everything going. So let's go and check out the rule set right here. Signups have not begun just yet, so you still got some time. Signups will be from January 21st through the 28th. That's when you need to sign up, and then you will need to have your team ready by the 29th. So you lock in your battle box when you start the competitions. So that gives you about 3 weeks to get your VGC 2016 team up and ready. And as you can see, 50,000 participation limit. While that cap probably won't be reached, there are a lot of people that participate in these online tournaments. If we go and check out the Festive Feud, 14,000 people entered a fun tournament. Like, the Festive Feud is just a fun little thing, and 14,000 people entered, which is pretty insane. Now, this is going to be the first taste of VGC 2016 on the battle spot, so I'm expecting at least 20,000 people to enter, so you might want to get your team ready. So here's how it works, that the VGC 2016 will only allow Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, so if you don't have that game, you can't participate, and the rules are pretty standard. Double battles, set to 50, and you get to bring 2 legendary Pokemon, so that's pretty nice right there. Players can register a maximum of 2 Pokemon in Battle Box featuring Mewtwo, Lugia. So all of the non-mythical legendaries, mythical legendaries and event exclusives right here are not allowed because they're too exclusive. Not everyone has access to these Pokemon, but these Pokemon, they've been available in recent games and everyone can get a hold of one of these for themselves, and some of them haven't even been caught in your game potentially, that if you're still trying to go for like a competitive legendary, now would be the time. And also Poke Transporter is not allowed, so VGC rules. Now here's where it gets interesting. Because this is an international challenge with the VGC rules, top 256 players will actually get championship points for VGC, like participating for Worlds and other VGC events. This goes to the Championship Series, and we can talk about championship points right here. So now this is where things start to get a little more complicated. If you're attempting to go to Worlds this year, or if you want to try to rank high up in the VGC ladder for the official Pokemon rules, this is something you will need to learn about. So you get 6 scores worth of VGC Premier Challenges as well as online competitions, and that's like going to be your limit. So say you go to 8 events, it's going to take your best 6, and those are going to be your points. So the ideal placement would be trying to get top 4 in 6 of these events. Now, the online competitions are actually worth quite a lot. That we have 45 championship points for first place. Now, out of 20,000 participants, that will be pretty tricky to get a hold of. But then also the VGC Premier Challenge, that we're going to have 30 championship points for one of those, and then 30 championship points for an elevated one. Pretty much, if more people enter, you have a better chance at getting points. As you can see, 9th through 16th will get points, but then there's also going to be 65 through 128 on more people, just in case, and then mid-season showdowns. So for the next part, there'll be mid-season showdowns and regional championships. You only get 3 finishes of these, but they are worth more points because they are more valuable, and then you just want to try to get as many things as possible. And then nationals is also worth a ton of points as well. Now, I do have a bit of a gripe with the championship point way that they do it, because it's honestly pay to win. That if you can fly out to 3 regionals and do well at them, or even go more regionals, say you bomb 2 regionals and then you can afford to go to 5 or 6 regionals, and then you can do well at those, then you can just kind of buy your way to Worlds in a way. And it's the same with the Premier Challenges, that if you go to 3 Premier Challenges, get first place at all of those, and even go to 1 Regionals and get first place there, you still don't get to qualify for Worlds, or you still don't get to rank as highly as other players that, say, get top 16 at 3 Regionals events and then can like top 8 at all 6 Premier Challenges. They're going to rank higher than you, even though you had a better showing in all of those, and that could be quite a bit of a problem. Same with the online competitions. Like, sure, you can participate 6 online competitions. I think they might have 6. They might have a good amount. Generally see 1 every month or so. And even then, like, that's more players, and it's still a good amount of points. So it's in your best interest to try to get some kind of online competition ranking, as well as a lot of Premier Challenges. And then regionals is also pretty bad. And then you pretty much have to go to nationals. Even if you do really well a lot of regionals, and you also do well at Premier events, you have to go to nationals and show well, or else you're just not going to get a ticket to Worlds. So if you want to go to Worlds, nationals is an absolute must because it's worth so many points. But then you still also have to go to all the VGC regionals that you can, and max out on Premier Challenges challenges. If you look at a list of the people that went to Worlds, they maxed out everything. They went to all the VGC events, they went to Nationals, went to Premier Challenges. Now, for the most part, they did do good because they are world-class players, but I think there was only one person that missed like a regionals or that missed an event, and then they still made it. But then you can see other players that, you know, they did well at a regionals, they did well at an event, but they didn't have the means of going to all the events, so they didn't make it to Worlds, and that's kind of bad. And I've heard some horror stories about Premier Challenges and stuff, like 8 people will show up to a Premier Challenge, and then half of those are just like casuals, because a lot of these times they're just held at like card shops and stuff, so, you know, it's just friendly kids that want to go in and try and make an attempt at it, and then like the 1 or 2 good players that are either maybe not the best in their city, or maybe they're the best in the city, they can just show up and pretty much get an easy top 4, an easy top 2 finish, and then that's a lot of championship points. Now, it is better this year. I will honestly say it is a lot better this year, because you used to be able to get more Premier Challenges, and they rewarded more points. And I think regionals even gave less points, maybe? Either way, like, you could get a ton of points off of Premier Challenges for free. And like I said, if 8 people show up, say 4 of them I've heard have in-game teams, or aren't really, they're there for fun. They're not there to win a serious tournament, and then all you have to do is be somewhat skilled. You don't even have to be like the best battler. You don't even have to be an incredible battler, depending on who shows up that day. If the really good people are busy and they can't make it to that event, or they're at another event or something, you know, you just show up and you get almost enough points to go to Worlds off of just some simple Premier Challenges. And I've even heard about Premier Challenge rigging. So there's like Pokemon's serious stuff apparently when it comes to this, that, you know, if you have friends carpooling around, going to all the Premier Challenges in your state, even multiple states, and you know that the people that show up are going to be pretty low quality compared to like high level competitive battling, you can actually just have it to where, you know, you and your friends, you're the top 4, and then you can choose who wins or loses games to give them the points. So it's like, oh hey, one of my friends needs to get first place. I already have my ticket to World secured. He needs to get first place, so I'm just going to lose my battles to him, and then he gets a free first place, and now he gets to go to Worlds too. So there's a lot of rigging. It's a corruptible system. Also, I don't like it because, you know, you could get first place at regionals, and it literally means nothing. Well, except for like the trophy and the prizes you get from it. And the prizes are just a joke right now compared to the old regionals. So I mean, you get first place at regionals, and it does mean nothing. You know, you get a DS and 72 booster packs, which I guess you could maybe sell for some money, but I mean, and a first place award, which is a trophy. And I'm trying to remember, because I did a lot of searching. I couldn't find the rules for like the super old VGC events and stuff, or before it was even called VGC, back when it was just like Pokemon Showdown, like Pokemon World Championship stuff, that I feel like for a small period of time they had to where if you got first place at regionals, you got a trip to Worlds, or at least you got like a super buy at Nationals, and even if you got like top 16 at a regionals, that's how you got an invite to Nationals, and then top something at the Nationals would go to Worlds and stuff. They even have last chance qualifiers. So I mean, at least the idea is that you could do less, just establish yourself as like a strong battler, and it wasn't pay to win. You could go to one event, make it to Nationals, win that, and then go to Worlds instead of having to travel around unnecessarily, or you just go to wherever the last chance qualifier is. They had a thing called like a last chance qualifier, and even if you got like first place or like top 4 or something, you were able to go straight to Worlds, not even off Nationals, not even off of Regionals, just the last chance qualifier. Now, while that could be seen as like pay to win or some kind of easy way into Worlds, you know, at least your victory meant more. In the system, like, you know, your victories don't mean as much. You know, you had to get first place at that. You had to get first place somewhere to make your trip to Worlds. With this, you can get first place at some easy events and then do well other places as long as you go to enough events. That could be Worlds right there. So as you can see here with like the national points and stuff, I mean, top 16 is going to get, like, if you get 16th place at Nationals, that's better than 2 first places at VGC. So, I mean, anyone that gets top 64 in some Premier Challenges is just going to have more points than you, and that's kind of bad. Also, I think it takes away like the regional exclusivity of this, that, you know, if all you had to do was do well at some regionals, get a ticket to Nationals, and then only the elite players from the state or from this country go to Nationals like it used to be, and then the winners of that go to Worlds. I like that system way more because it doesn't promote traveling like this. Like, there were some players that would keep going to VGC and would keep trying to win them off of that, but it's all about resources. That, you know, those people, they have the resources, they have the money, they have something that allows them to travel like that when other people can't, and it makes it to where like local talent gets lost in this, because they could do amazing at regionals and then have an okay Nationals, or even not be able to make it to Nationals because the travel allowance isn't there, because there isn't anything else for them, or also because all the other players, now they have to go to your regionals if they want to go to Worlds, even though they already won a regional. So you're causing people from the United States to fly all over, kind of just crush out the other talent that had a chance, and it makes it to where it's pretty much pay to win, which is very unfortunate. Now, as for me entering this, I won't be able to enter the International Challenge for January because I don't have legendary Pokemon, and I also don't really know what my team setup is. I still need to play through Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire. I don't know which game. I need to buy another copy. Then I need to play through that because I'm not resetting my game right now. I need to get all the legendaries from there. I need to like grind that, come up with a team, breed a new team, and I don't have the time for that right now, and it's just an international challenge. So other than that, you know, I still have to make video content and I still have to come up with stuff like that. So I won't be able to do this one, and that's the thing. So it's also just a bad system, which kind of, it takes the spirit out of it, you know? Back when I was a kid, I really wanted to go to regionals. I really wanted to go to events, but our family didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have much to work with. So all the events I wanted to go to, they were always too far away. They were always in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I also I was young. I couldn't get out to these events like some of these other people can. So it did make it a bit unfortunate for me. So I have a lot of sympathy for people that are in the same position, that, you know, if regionals was closer to them, if that regionals meant more, they can actually make something of it and actually show that they are a world-class talent that's just getting lost in this pretty poor system. So if you guys enjoyed the video, you know, pretty ranty there at the end. I use this as an excuse to talk about my championship points rant overall. It is better now. I keep saying that because it's not as bad, but it's still a pretty manipulative system that if you have money, you win and stuff. But in the end, VGC 2016, we have a legitimate format on the battle spot and an online competition that could be pretty serious. I mean, if you get top 16 at this event, it means something. Like, you know, that's tens of thousands of players entering. So if you need the championship points, that could also be really nice. But I would just see it, you know, you're top 16 in the world for this month, for this challenge. And that's huge. That could mean more than getting first place at a regionals. And it could also be argued that international challenges, the online challenges, they mean more than actual regionals, than nationals, and potentially even worlds, because everyone can enter these. You know, fine, sure, not everyone has an internet connection, but many, many more players are going to be able to have access to this tournament than players that are unable to go to regionals, that can't get the points from premier events, that can't run this kind of crappy system. So you do well at this. You get top 16 in this system, it means something. It means you're top 16 in the world, whereas, you know, top 16 at Worlds, you're top 16 out of people that made it, that had a good showing. So it does give like a pretty nice spectrum that, you know, you can really show off your talents in something like this, and that's why I like it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, wish I could enter, but I hope you all have a nice day, and good luck at the competition.